In this situation, we're being asked for the intersection of these two functions. And whether or not you hear the word intersection, if you have multiple functions and you're asked for the answer, that is an intersection, where you want to get them both in the y equals format and set them equal. So here we already have y equals this, y equals that. So that job is done for us. So we'll just work on setting them equal. And here we have a quadratic situation. We know we have a quadratic because we have x squared. When you square this out, you'll have x squared. And we also have x. And for quadratics, you want everything on one side equal to 0, preferably with the x squared side being positive. Now, one of the big mistakes people will make doing a question like this, when you have something in the a plus b format, a lot of people will be tempted to say, well, that's a squared plus b squared. But you have to be careful with that. Instead, something in the format of a plus b all squared is really going to be a plus b times a plus b, because when you square something, you're multiplying it by itself. And then from there, you'd FOIL. So here, we'll have x minus 1 times x minus 1. When we FOIL that out, we'll have first times first, outer times outer, inner times inner, and last times last. Now we can combine those like terms there. And now we can treat this like a quadratic where we get everything on one side equal to 0, preferably with the x squared side being positive. In other words, we're going to do the opposite of everything on this side and bring it over to the left-hand side. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Now this is a BC quadratic, and we're doing BC factoring, where we need our two numbers that add to B and multiply to C. So we need two numbers that add to -4 and multiply to +4. And the two numbers that do that are -2 and -2. So we could write it like this, or we could write it like this, because x minus 2 times x minus 2 is x minus 2 squared. So if you have it this way, you could take the square root of both sides, and you'll get x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides, x equals 2. And be really careful, because if you enter 2 in as your answer here, you'll get it wrong. And that's because they want the y coordinate, which simply means we've got to just plug our x back in to either equation to get y. So y equals 2x minus 3, but we know that x is 2 now. So that's 2 times 2 minus 3, 4 minus 3, which is 1. And that is the y coordinate. So that is our answer.